I thought the visuals, the cinematography, the colors, the editing, every decision that they made was clearly very, very intentional. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Isaac Joel, with the critics at Agents of Fandom, and today we're going to be breaking down A24's latest creation, Love Lies Bleeding. This is a film that I didn't really know very much about. I received the screening invitation to it, read the synopsis, looked at the trailer, saw a couple of still frames, and still it felt kind of vague to me. I didn't have a bigger picture of what this film was about, what it was bringing. And I think for me, the last A24 movie that I saw in theaters that kind of turned me off a little bit was Beau is Afraid. That was one of those giant psychological films that at the very end just had me very disappointed. I was thinking about recently giving it a rewatch and seeing if I still felt that way or if my opinion has thus changed so far, as it always does. And so I always find that upon reviewing or revisiting something, that it's good to have, clarity and clarification on certain films and certain ideas. And so when I walked into the theater of this, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and the gentleman was telling me how this was one of his most anticipated films of the year, which completely blew me away. And I was like, wow, okay, now I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. Now I'm very intrigued and interested to kind of see where it is that this is going. Another A24 film that recently came out that I was really, really positive about was The Iron Claw. I thought that film was phenomenal, amazing, great acting. I thought hopefully that this was going to be something like that. Don't know if this is necessarily fictional or it takes place in based on a true story or true events or is pulling from anything real, but it seemed upon viewing it that it was a completely original story or screenplay, something I would love to do a little bit more research and dive more into. But even the director, Rose Glass, I believe is her name, female director, hasn't done very much, not a lot under her belt. Yet I really think that this would be a film that could set her off, that could really put her on the map and get a lot of attention. And hopefully she directs a lot more movies in the future, because I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was one of the best and really, really phenomenal. Now, I kind of used The Iron Claw and Beau is Afraid both as dramatic and drastic examples of the meter of where you'll kind of land with A24. It's either going to go, one way or it's going to go the other. You're either going to end up, spoiler alert, with an abstract ending such as Beau is Afraid with a giant dick monster at the very end of that, or you're going to get something a little bit more sentimental, more grounded, or even artistic and auteur. So there's the fine line, I think, between those that's kind of like my meter where I'm landing with these A24 movies. And so I don't love with A24, they always do these weird abstract endings at the last 5-10 minutes that have absolutely nothing to do with the movie to begin with, and it just kind of like comes out of nowhere, and you're like left to having to buy into it or believe into it or not. And so this is one of those movies that you're going to have a good time the entire ride. It is a roller coaster of a film. I think from a script point of view, it is really, really well written. But from that last 5-10 pages, the movie takes this weird turn. It's going to land to some people, and to other people, they're kind of gonna be walking away like, okay, wow, whatever. That kind of really didn't do much for me or have a big impact on me or anything like that. So I think with this film, some people are going to be leaning either way. It can really be kind of controversial in some ways. But for me personally, I thought it was so well done. I thought the acting was really, really good. I thought the editing was so well done. The production sound design of the film in particular, I noticed in the beginning of the film, the credits were rolling. And that's one of my favorite parts when they actually want you to know the cast and the crew right off the top in the beginning of the film, because they want you to know that all of these key players are very, very important in the making of what it is that you are about to see. And from the very, very first shot, wow. That was really, my jaw dropped on the floor. It was very cosmic, and it started literally just from the sky, just looking at the space, and it just pans down into the gym, and it follows these characters inside. And I thought it was one of the most beautiful shots I have seen this year, seriously. And so it's literally the simplest of things like that that really draws my attention, that gets me interested in the film. I think it's very important in the first, minute to 5 minutes of your film on the decisions you're making with the characters, the artistic choices that you're going to be making with the camera techniques and etc. And so it was clear to me that this was going to be a film unlike anything I have ever seen before. And I truly mean that. Kristen Stewart gives one of her best performances ever in this film. She's been an actress that's been around for a long time. She was a child actress, and she's done so many different films if you've looked at her career, and she's really, really talented. I give her so much credit. I think she's really stand on her own and has made a name for herself, and I just love everything that she does. I think she's super talented. I think she takes everything that she does really, really seriously, and I think that's really rare to find with a lot of talent in Hollywood these days. And so whatever she does after this film, wow, seriously, like, give her an Oscar first and foremost. She should deserve some kind of award for her performance and how far she kind of went with her mental stability. I really love when characters are just losing it, going insane, and oh man, both the female characters in this movie are really going at it. Katie O'Brien is arguably the first lead of the entire film. I do think that she holds it on her shoulders physically and mentally and everything spiritually. She gives also one of the best performances. I don't know if the actress has always been this massive and shredded, or if she got into this shape specifically for this role. Either way, wow, what they do with her and her character is really, really done well. The film follows her character strolling into a new town. She has a dark past to her. It's kind of unknown exactly what she's done in the past. Maybe she's killed people. Maybe she's running away from something. But she immediately meets Dave Franco, who is the brother-in-law to Kristen Stewart's character. She meets Kristen Stewart's character, Louie, I believe is her name, and they call her Lulu. And they form this beautiful relationship. They immediately fall in love, like, instantly. And it's completely believable. It really is, the way that they look at each other and how lonely they both feel in their lives. And you can tell that they look like two people who have been searching for each other for a long time, and they have finally found their soulmate. Dave Franco's character is this abusive brother-in-law to Kristen Stewart's sister, and so they've known about this for a long time, but they just don't do anything about it. They can't do anything about it. They talk to him or whatever, but she really sometimes imagines what it would be like if he was just gone. And one night her sister ends up in the hospital really, really beaten to a pulp. Like, I've never seen anyone this bruised up before. It was heartbreaking scene. That also, a lot of credit to the makeup people. It looked really, really good. It looked like a giant meatball just slapped on her face, and you put a lot of purple on it, and boom, wow. And so it was really, really done well, and the scene was so powerful and so tense. And I love there's these moments because Katie O'Brien's character starts taking steroids. She's never really taken roids before in her life, and so she starts doing it when she comes across Lulu, and she's having this effect on it, which is really cool. It almost reminds me as if she's hallucinating. If she was like taking some kind of drug, she will, like, her body will start to like morph and like grow and get bigger and bigger, and her muscles will like literally like pop out. And I don't know how they film stuff like that. It's not just her flexing. It can't be as simple as that. It really seems like they're like putting something, or it's really good CGI at the very least, popping out of her, but it looks so real. And then she'll be like holding on to like the arm of her chair and like start clawing it and breaking it, and she just looks like literally She-Hulk. I wish that she was kind of hired to be She-Hulk, because that probably would have been a million times better But you know, it's whatever. It's fine. I would have loved if you just painted her green. I mean, they did that with Zoe Saldana in Gamora. So why not, you know, just give us a real She-Hulk instead of CGI. So this is pretty much my review and campaign to get Katie O'Brien to be the new She-Hulk for Marvel Studios. You're welcome. The movie takes place in like pretty much like a week and like 5 days. It feels like every day that's coming and passing is you're following it in real time. And Dave Franco's character suffers the consequences for his actions when she shows up at his house one night and beats the living hell out of him to death. And it is one of like the best death scenes I have seen. I really wish every movie would do this pretty much. How gruesome and violent it was, and how surreal the sound effects were. The acting was really, really powerful and palpable. The theater that I watched it with, the audience literally gasped. They were shocked. I haven't heard anybody make sounds like this and noises like this in such a long time. And so it really, for me, when you get that kind of like audience reaction, that's when you know you've done your job. That's when you know you went all the way and you've done everything that you can. And wow, the film is kind of like a modern day Thelma and Louise. They both have to get rid of the body, and so once they get rid of Dave Franco's character, they put it somewhere where they know the police are going to start asking questions, because she's trying to point the direction towards her father. And I actually really like the dynamic between Lulu and her father that they were exploring, and how psychotic he was and how manipulative he was. And it was kind of unclear even about his past. You know, did he kill her mother? Is he responsible for countless other deaths? What kind of business and crime is he involved in? And they kind of brush past that stuff with montages, kind of like what's that one movie, Scarface, when he's like on the phone and the music's playing. It's like, push it to the limit, the limit, and then the cash is going. There's literally a scene that looks just like that, and I kind of was like, oh god, really? But you know, it kind of seems like a little bit lazy writing on their part, you know, not really spending more time with their character, just watching him, you know, walk around, pacing around on a phone, and you just kind of have to make that stuff up in your head, which, you know, I understand. I like, you know, when some things are, you know, ambiguous, you know, and it leaves a little bit to the mystery, but it kind of did seem a little bit like a cop-out. I thought the visuals, the cinematography, the colors, the editing, every decision that they made was clearly very, very intentional, and I loved it. I thought it was very, very artistic, very, very abstract in all of the best ways. Now, again, I kind of want to wrap back around to that last 5 minutes, and I'm not going to spoil what happens. I don't really want to give that away. I really want you guys to kind of check this movie out and let me know for yourselves if it works for you or if it doesn't. And I'm sure they tested this ending out with a lot of people, and it kind of just came down to, well, you know, it's the director's vision, and let the director do what they want. And A24 is really good at supporting and backing up their filmmakers and their artists. And so I respect the visions, I really do, just not when it's, you know, a giant dick monster hiding in the closet. Me personally, I don't think the ending worked for me. I thought it should have just ended with them, you know, running away, or just anything else besides what actually happens. But, you know, that's going to be a little controversial and left up for conversation, which I think is very interesting. I'm very curious to hear what it is you think about this film, Love Lies Bleeding, once it hits theaters. Let me know in the comments below, or you could tweet at me at It's Isaac Joel. This has to be one of my favorite A24 films. It's definitely on that list, and I should put together one of my top 10 favorite, and we could talk about that on this channel. As always, I have been your host, Isaac Joel with The Critics. We'll catch you next time.